Alright, welcome to Dusk Meridian, a MMORPG I've been building largely solo over the past couple of years. Want to set the expectations for this video up front. This is very much a work in progress. You're going to see placeholder art, debug panels, and rough edges everywhere. But what I want to focus on is showing this server the server farm from my point of view and what I see. So on this landing page, have of course, the Dusk Meridian logo here. And it just kind of leads the audience, the viewer, into the game. Most of these are placeholder graphics or placeholder text. So when we go to the world map, this is actually terrain that is generated in very fine detail. So it's not just a pixelated a bitmap. Here, there's actual very dense layers of data that contains uh, depths of the ocean and the various coastlines, and so all of this has been generated by a Python script. It took me about a month to get a very realistic world. So it shows the different settlements when you click on them. And there's actually buildings that we have, and there's various populations. So we're actually um, testing the different characters that are going from various buildings, going to and from the various buildings. And the web interface here is one of the tools that helps test or validates this data. So there are 20 buildings in this one village here in Crystal Village. This is one of the main test settlements. Um, so when you go down, you can actually see a cluster of characters here, and uh, the circles, the dots, are representing characters, and the boxes are buildings. So we can see that there's a distribution of characters that are around this settlement that is fairly realistic in nature. So back to the world map. So the Dusk Meridian world is a tidally locked world, meaning that one side of the planet always faces its sun or its star. Uh, so the middle of the world is very hot. Then there's a temperate ring outside of the very hot zone, and then it becomes gradually cooler and cooler and more densely iced. And so the very planet itself is 2/3 the size of Earth. So that generates a great, huge area to play in and to settle. But at the same time, it's not as large as Earth, and it's not, the travel times won't be as long as they are on the actual planet of Earth. So there are many public settlements. Of course, players will be able to found their own various settlements, just like in other games. So the immutable X is the blockchain and the system that we're using. And so the web interface does have the mutable X login functionality. So that address that you're seeing there is my wallet address. When I log in, if we go to the immutable X passport, the the immutable play website, many websites will give a wallet address, but you can see there that the CECE, the wallet address that is reported from immutable is the same wallet address that our web interface is showing. So right now the marketplace tab, dashboard, they're just placeholder tabs. Um, Marketplace will have a place, not so much an NFT marketplace, but that'll be an in-game marketplace where you can buy and sell in-game resources. Dashboard, just a place where you can have a overview, a data overview. So in the character tab, you actually see that I have two characters in my wallet, and you see the wallet address there. So when we go into a character, you can actually see here that there's an action queue. This is one of the main features of the game Dusk Meridian and its pillar engine, uh, supporting server infrastructure. So in a sense, you can have an idle character that if you're offline, and let's say you're at work, your character is still gathering resources and still doing things, and you can get on to your web interface and access the game, and you can add actions to your character or modify them or reorder them uh, through the web interface. So that gives you another way of accessing and controlling your character without having to go into the Unity 3D engine. When you go to there, you can add different actions. So there's various action types. So you can see here that you know uh, this web interface is interfacing a active server farm. You can just see a little bit of the console that's running here. It's populating actions for different characters, and the web interface is showing that here that this action queue is actually being populated and actually being maintained. So you can actually move to have different action types. You can add actions and modify them through the web interface once again. So one of the main features of Dusk Meridian and its supporting engine, Pillar Engine, is using the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Actually, it's a customized version of Maslow's hierarchy. Um, so you can see here in a character overview how how much their well-being is met through their hunger, thirst, and rest. So it starts with physiological needs, and then it progresses through a safety and security needs, and then love and belonging if they're socializing. So the different actions in the queue and the different actions that the character is participating in helps fulfill those different character needs in those different categories. So now we're getting into the character creation process. So as you can see here that my wallet address is being reported, but I can't create any more characters because I don't have any NFTs available to create any more test characters. I've actually minted some NFTs on Sepolia. Um, I think that's how you say that. Um, but I've used all of them up. So I've actually um, have tested the NFTs with the web interface and the server farm here. So you go through different steps um, to create your character with different tiers of NFTs. So the very basic one will determine what type of character you have, whether it's a warrior or a specialist, like a magic user. The second tier determines where their power comes from. Let's say you want to be a martial artist, then it can come from a martial artist power. You can be a sorcerer, somebody that has innate magic coming from within, or you can be a spellcaster that memorizes spells. So that would be the second tier. Um, the third tier is to specialize your actual character. Like in a case of a spellcaster, you can actually say that you want to specialize in fire magic and be a pyromancer. So that would be the pyromancer class. The tier 4 NFTs are only dropped by very special events, special world events that happen every 3 to 6 months. At least that's how I'm planning them right now. So somebody participates in a grand event to defeat a grand necromancer, for example, they may get a necromancer NFT to further create a very specialized character of a necromancer type that's very specialized. That would be 4 levels of specialization. So in the NFT tab, we can view the different NFTs. Here is the tier 1, where we can determine that if it's going to be a striker character or a guardian, a tank or a rogue type character. A specialist can be a magic user. The power sources, as I mentioned, they can be a martial artist or they could be a spellcaster. It can come from a biochemical source. So you make different through these different combinations of tiers, you can create all kinds of different characters. And then the tier 3 and 4 is to actually specialize them and to actually narrow down and focus the character if somebody wanted. So the codex tabs, we have various creatures that have been formulated to pre-populate the game world to have various creatures to fight and interact with. There's various zones in our Dusk Meridian world. Some are aquatic, some are desert. So these are specialized for that tidally locked planet of Dusk Meridian. And so the web interface can go and right now the game codex needs some functionality, but the creature codex can give you an idea of what that game codex is going to be. So on to the server manager. The server farm is actually working. It is what I've spent the most of my time developing. So we can see through the various console logs that we actually have a functioning server in the background, but I've made this server manager to manage all these microservices. So first up is the player platform service. This is the front door into the game. When somebody logs in through Immutable Passport, this service validates the JWT token, creates the session, and stores it into Redis for fast access. So we use a dual storage pattern here, Redis for speed, Postgres for persistence. So we actually have a Postgres database behind all of this that connects all of these different services together. So we have 419 tables in our Postgres database. It holds currently all of the data that is used by the different microservices, all of the action queues, actions in our action queue, has all the characters. So we've built this to support millions of characters, and it's of course supports our existing world as it stands now. So just a brief, it's hard to show code from Visual Studio to determine whatever anything does. I'll have better diagrams in the future, but just a little bit about each service. So the economy service, this handles everything money related, the marketplace, player-to-player trading, crafting validation, a caravan system for settlement to settlement trade routes. What also makes this interesting is some dynamic pricing modules. So every 60 seconds, a background service recalculates market prices based on actual supply and demand in the game. So one of the things that the Pillar engine supports and in the game of Dusk Meridian is a robust economy. So I've noticed that people in all of these games, some people just love to, use the auction house or the, just trade nothing but resources all the time. So the economy service will help manage all of those interactions. So the social service manages all the social features, the mail system with attachments, a COD system, guild banking with permissions, um, complete transaction logging that helps the anti-cheat system. Um, so when a guild officer withdraws gold from the bank, there's an audit trail. When somebody sends a COD package, the currency goes into an escrow until the delivery is accepted. All of the social service helps make the MMO feel alive. So the AI simulation server mentioned that there's an idle a mechanic. The AI simulation server helps maintain this. So this is optimized for mega scale simulation. So we're talking about handling 10,000 or more characters being processed simultaneously. All of these, are offline or NPCs. So it uses spatial grid partitioning with 1,000-meter cells that calculate interactions between characters that are actually near each other. So the NPCs and the characters, offline player characters, their decisions, their needs, their daily routines, all of them are processed in the AI simulation server. So this is our engine behind our living character system. So next up is the world server and the game server. So these two handle the very heavy lifting of the Pillar engine system. So the world server, not as much as the game server, but the world server manages the planet itself. Our tidally locked world has 16 million terrain cells with different biomes, elevations, and environmental conditions. This service handles the day and night cycles in the twilight band because there are some still day and night circles in the middle band. Seasonal changes, weather systems, coastline data, all this is handled by the world server. So when the Unity client needs to know what a patch of terrain looks like, it can ask this server. So the game server is the main one. It has 20 background services as of now running simultaneously. The action queue processing happening every 5 seconds. Character movement updates, NPC daily routines, power grid simulation, gathering operations, patrol management, social activities. All of these you know, are maintained by the game server, and then it maintains the different microservices as well to dish out those um, different needs, those different resources to those microservices. So it's the main juggler. Over 100 API endpoints, covers the characters, settlements, military orders, crafting, everything. This is where the actual game logic lives. So there's the headless server. So one of the big things that I've learned from the Albion Online and Eve Online is to have a server as the source of truth. With the server as a source of truth, everything exists in mostly data form, and I was having problems knowing what actually exists in the Unity 3D world. So the headless server is a full Unity runtime running without graphics in batch mode. So it handles all of the real-time multiplayer using netcode for the game objects, the server authoritative physics, the network object synchronization, the kind of responsive gameplay that you need for combat movement. All of that is needed. If it's needed, if some data is needed about the 3D objects and how it is in Unity, the headless server uh, is provides that data to the world server. Mostly, the game server will then ask the world server that will ask then the headless server for details. The world server will cache a lot of that data. But when something is needed in the 3D world, as far as like interactions, that's where the headless server comes involved with. So big picture, all of these services share the Postgres database um, that that have over 400 tables. They communicate via REST APIs and other means and UDP. So that's another wave in another ocean. Every service exposes Prometheus metrics and health check endpoints, so we can monitor the entire farm from a single dashboard from this dashboard that you see here. So when you start the server farm, there's a PowerShell script that brings up everything up in a dependency order, um, and then it engages and fires off the different microservices. There's other planned services. So on the roadmap, matchmaking for dungeons and PvP, analytics for player behavior and economy tracking, anti-cheat for bot detection, exploit prevention, and content delivery for CDN integration and to distribute patches to the launchers. So just a brief about the Unity client. We It is being rebuilt right now. All the integrations from previous builds about the IMX integration still work. So when you hit a connect button, it actually goes out and you can actually, I'm already logged in. So it already engages the Immutable X network. And then we can see in the logs here, once we get down to it, that that it does indeed report my web address, the Immutable X wallet address. This is mostly to get an idea of what I see from a developer's point of view. I know you can't see any code from this video, but it's just kind of giving a brief overview of where I'm at with the project. And stay tuned for more updates. Thank you.